just happen almost on its own, you know. So every night I have a chance to play. I have to try my hardest, and a lot of that is listening to the other musicians and allowing it to be something, you know. So I have to give of myself to the other members and allow them to have their voices speak, and I have to try to be open to like a funny sound, or if the amp doesn't work right, or you look out in the audience and somebody's checking their phone, and you know, I can't let that affect me. So this is my work that I have to do every day. So I don't really think about anything other than that, because that's so hard. I mean, for me anyway, that's not that it's also very rewarding, but I know I have to keep my mind on that. And the other stuff doesn't come into my mind, like, you know, I mean, I think when I'm not playing, I think, wow, I have to have a concept that's cool and find some new shit. I can't just lay back. Yeah, that's when I'm not playing. But when I'm actually playing, you know what I love? I love, and I know you know what I'm talking about, I love the feeling of working on something. You know, it's the work itself, when you can like try and just practice this chord and then you use it in this place. Oh, that's the greatest feeling, and I try to stay in touch with that. You know, the learning, and it's very slow, but if you can just work on some music, that's been the greatest thing in my life, is being able to do that, because then the other crazy stuff goes away for a little while. You know what I mean? Your insecurities kind of go away because you're just working. Maybe you would feel like that if you were an athlete, you know, and you were out running, you know, around the track, and maybe you don't worry about stuff when you're just working, you know.
Do you still find influences in other musicians?
Yeah.
Other artists?
Yeah. He asked if I still find influence in other artists. Yeah. I love, there's so much good music, you know.
And who is your...
Who? Now I knew you were going to ask me that. Who? I can't remember who.
Who is your biggest?
I don't have a biggest. I mean, maybe when I was your age I had a biggest. But now that I'm older, I have a lot of musicians that I just love, you know? And I know more now. So there have been so many. There's so much music out there that you could hear. I mean, right here at the festival, we've got some great artists playing this weekend. You know, we were talking about some of the guys, Enrico Rava, Myra Melford, and Lee Connors.
And James Carter.
And James Carter. I mean, all these guys have something to say, a lot to say, you know, and I'm inspired by all those people, actually, you know, and I'm still inspired by the greats of jazz, you know, because as I get older, I get to listen to all this stuff. It takes years and years to know what is happening in jazz music, because there's 100 years of recorded history, you know. So now sometimes I go back and listen to like music from the 20s a little bit. Yeah. And because I used to not know about that. You know, I started more with kind of modern jazz from the 60s or something, you know. And so there's so much to learn, you know. And then I'll hear classical music. Sometimes I get in the car. You know, I don't really know much about classical music, you know, but sometimes I get in my car to drive around and I have it turned to a station in New York that's classical music, and I'll hear something that really, it makes me want to research it. And then I have to remember who the composer is, and then I forget, you know. But so there's a lot out there, you know. So I don't have any one particular thing that I'm studying right now. The music we're going to play tonight is all country western songs. And what did you say? Oh, nice?
Nice, that's nice.
You like country western?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm joking. I like country western too. I like a lot of the old stuff, and I was just joking. It's okay. I like you because you like country western. Yeah.
Chet Atkins.
Chet Atkins, yeah, he was good, huh? You know, I'm trying to not do the country guitar stuff as much, because that's chicken picking. I can't do that stuff. But I like these old songs. You know, I like the vocals. So I try to play the melodies on the guitar, and then we turned it into jazz. You know, So I don't know what this had to, oh, but when I was researching this project, I mean, I knew about country music for my whole life, a little bit, you know. But it was fun to go and have this project and really research a lot of the old songs and listen to different recordings. And sometimes I would transcribe what the singer was singing, you know, George Jones, which is incredible music, George. And so, yeah, that was a big influence on me, you know. But then, man, you know, when you look at the pictures around here, all these people have been influenced. I grew up in the town where he lived, Dave Brubeck, and I played with his kids, with his sons, you know, when I was a kid. And Art Blakey, I lived in Greenwich Village, he lived down the street, you know, and unbelievable, man, this guy, you know. I mean, talk about swing, and it's been so great to be part of this living history and get to be around Dizzy a little bit, you know. Just when I was younger in the 80s, you know, I was a couple of times in some dressing rooms where he was, and I would just listen to what he was saying, you know. And, one time I got to play with him on a recording, you know, and I can't see Joe Zawinul, and that was great for me. He's from not so far from here, from Vienna, and I went, when I was in the 70s, I was in the Billy Cobham band. It was my first big-time band, and we went on tour with Weather Report, our band and then Weather Report, and we would play, and every day I'd see Joe on the bus. And I had, you know, was a Joe fanatic because I had the records he made with Weather Report from earlier on, and also I had gone to see him with Cannonball Adderley, and I knew of his music, and I got to meet him, and that was a great experience for me. And these guys were all big influences on me, and just being around them was great too. Yeah. Yes?
Is you still nervous when you go to the stage?
Not so much, unless I know somebody who I really respect is out there listening. And I probably wouldn't be nervous tonight, but then I saw Lee Konitz in the the hotel. And he said, "I'm coming to hear you play." And I go, "Oh shit, now I'm gonna be nervous." What can you do? I tried to get him to stay in his room. I said, "Please, I'll pay you them not to come." Yes?
How you can explain why musicians working for money?
Why for money?
Lots of artists working like doing paintings, they're not thinking about to sell the art, they are doing because of the feelings. And then musicians also do this, but money question.
Well, what is your profession, I might ask?
Now, it's really difficult to explain now. I'm just doing some jazz festival because I'm crazy.
How do you get money?
Usually people give me money.
Oh, you are a prostitute.
On a jazz way, on a jazz way.
You know, how do I feel about, I know what you're asking,
Yes.
you know, and about commercial music, about selling music. How do we feel about that? And, you know, I think I'm very confused about that too, because I do music, I've learned music because I love it and I study it. But I've had to, since the beginning, I've realized that we need an audience to play and to make money. And if I didn't do it for money, I'd just be doing it on my own, in my own world, in my own basement, by myself. For an audience that I hope would exist. For me, there is no reason to be a musician except for the audience, outside of my own fascination with playing. And if I just did that, I would never perform, you know? But performing is when you really put it together to make a statement. I wouldn't be making a statement if it wasn't for the audience, because I have to make a statement. And at this point, I have a family that I have to feed with the money that I make from music. But so in that way, selling music has really made me prepare this work to present. And I don't think I would have done that if I had just been on my own. And also, I think it's interesting, when you play and you feel something from the audience, that they appreciate what you're doing, it can really help you. Now, in jazz, we really have to watch that because anybody can make the audience go crazy. You know, all I have to do is play loud and put the guitar in the back of my head and play on my knees, and the audience will go absolutely apeshit, you know? And the people sitting in the audience like you and me that hate that won't say anything. But the performer only gets this feeling of, oh, yes, I'm a great success. But then maybe in the back of his head he'd say, yeah, but that was bullshit. You know? So we have to really watch it with audience response. But I think